And back with more Dual Destinies. Got done with the investigation day one, so now it's time for the trial of Orla, the Orca. So my plan here is to get to about the halfway point, which I think I have tabbed at one of Bobby Fulbright's appearances. But Norma DePlume is going to be here as the witness. Good morning, Mr. Wright. Good morning. Chipper as ever, I see. I'm just thankful that we actually get to have a trial. As a matter of fact, I ran a few laps around the courthouse to get extra pumped. And I just splashed my face with some water to get the sleep out of my eyes. Oh, and I also queued the Swashbuckler video so you could watch it at any time. Thanks. Might just help our case. By the way, you have some serious dark circles. You stay up late watching this? What? Me? No, I just woke up early, that's all. Guess I need to cover them up. I get ragged on enough as it is by Blackquill. Speaking of being pumped, I'm pretty fired up for this trial, too. It's been a while. That explains why your hair is spikier than usual. I mean, look at it! It's all super pokey and prickly and stuff. It's amazing! That was a compliment. Alright. Good luck, Mr. Nick. I'll be cheering you on from the gallery. Thanks, Pearls. It's been so long, I'm actually a little nervous. Good morning, Mr. Lawyer. Oh, Mr. Rhymes. Came to watch a trial? Yeah, Saucer's in back at the aquarium with the orca. So I thought I'd better come here and watch for her. Well, don't you worry. We're gonna win for Orla. Ain't that right, boss? Right. One unprecedented trial coming right up. This should be fun, hooray! Court is now in session for the trial of Orla Shipley. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Must we waste words on this? Prosecutor Simon Blackwell, known as the Twisted Samurai. He's a prosecutor who's also a convicted felon. They say he never conducts a trial without his loyal hawk Taka by his side. Mr. Wright, it's been quite a while since I've seen you like that. The lawyer image suits you. You look younger somehow. Thank you, Your Honor. You look as young as ever yourself. Well, I have to keep up with you young folks anyway, after all. By the way, has the defendant arrived in court yet? Surely you jest your baldness. Did you not receive the memo? The defendant, Orla Shipley, is an orca at Shipshape Aquarium. An orca?! Arrangements for this trial were made only yesterday. I didn't have time to review. An orca as a defendant? It's patently absurd! Direct your comments to the defense. He's the absurd fellow who insisted on defending an orca in court in the first place. Absurd or not, I will carry out my duty to defend my client. Your duty to defend your crying ants? Don't you mean crying orca? If we are to proceed, we must always treat the orca as we would any other defendant. Every soul, be it man or beast, is of equal value. The question is whether the soul is painted in black or white. Take Taka, for example. He is as human in spirit as you or I. That's a good boy. Real question is, am I in more pain? As always. Orca or not, I suppose the defendant is still a defendant. Now I will render my verdict fairly and impartially, or I vow to do so. Now then, Prosecutor Blackwell, your opening statement, if you would. I suppose I can hardly leave it to someone who knew nothing of the defendant. Very well. Listen carefully. The Orca murdered the owner of Shipshape Aquarium in the aquarium's Orca pool. The Orca apparently toyed with the victim mercilessly as he died. A sadist Orca? What a chilling thought! And where exactly is the defendant now? Inside this. A cell phone? Time marches on your baldness, with or without us. I borrowed this TV phone from the aquarium, which will allow us to interact with the Orca. A TV phone? Very well, the court accepts it into evidence. We will be able to view the defendant in question on the large monitor. Fulbright, prepare for transmission. You got it, Prosecutor Blackwell. We will proceed with the defendant on telecast. So this is the Orca that stands accused? Aw, she's waving her flipper at us. Maybe she's cheering us on? Orla, wish Phoenix and Athena luck. Oh, it's quite cute, isn't it? And this adorable creature who's suspected of killing a man? Orla's really pouring on the charm, huh? She's far from cute. She is a violent, reckless animal. That's right! Name's Bobby Fulbright, and I'll take over the explanation from here. Now, if you would direct your attention to this diagram of the crime scene. Following the report of an Orca attack, we, the police, raced on over to Shipshape Aquarium. There, we found a guest who says she saw the Orca and a victim from the visitor's corridor. As the witness was watching, the Orca suddenly went crazy and attacked the victim. The Orca was the only one there, therefore no one else could have committed the crime. And it's not quite finished, but I have a portion of the autopsy report right here. Instant death from brain contusion. Blunt force trauma. I can't imagine the terror of being attacked underwater by such a large creature. But attack it did. Prepare yourself for the grisly details. The prosecution moves to introduce our witness. You got it! In justice we trust. One brave lady whose fine sense of justice compelled her to speak. Coming right up. Wow, even in this building, her scarf flows. Does she got like a mini fan in there? How dare you make me wait? Don't you know I'm a busy woman? I could have written an entire book in all the time I spent in that lobby. Prosecutor Blackwell? Well, I'm Norma DePlume, and I'm a non-fiction writer. Am I the only one who isn't telepathic here? Looks like she can read into people's words just as well as she can read into people's hearts. Not everything needs to be a competition, Athena. Wait, Norma DePlume, the great non-fiction writer herself? I've read all your works and enjoyed them. Your million seller, The Great Grief of the Great Thief, is one of my favorites. Oh, are you a fan? I could give you my autograph if you like. Wait a second. I could swear you looked much different in the photos than your book. Well, I used one from 10 years ago so the paparazzi wouldn't harass me. The judge seems so shocked. The visual disconnect must be something to do and he must be doing a number on his head. Could we get started, please? If I find you lacking as a judge, you will see my debut in my books. Such harsh comments! You really must be heard! Who knew Miss DePlume was so famous? Enough jabbering! Tell the court what you saw, and keep it brief. I would thank you not to order me around. I am perfectly willing to tell everyone what I witnessed. It was the moment of the murder. Very well then, please proceed with your testimony. I went to Shipshape Aquarium to see the killer whale. As I was watching the killer whale from the visitor's corridor, it suddenly went crazy. I saw the killer whale bite the victim to death with its huge mouth and deadly teeth. Attempting to remain calm, I reported the incident to the police immediately. That adorable defendant really did all that. Must be much more vicious than it looks. Deliver your judgment so I may carry out your sentence.
Objection!
The defense would like to do some defending first. If that's alright. Must you drag on with this tomfoolery? The defense always has the right to cross-examine witnesses, you know. Fellow inmate told me just this morning. If you want something signed, all you need is a document and a witness. Let me guess, they were convicted for contract fraud. All we need in this case is the evidence and a witness to convict. It's as simple as that. Looks like I guessed right. Sorry, but as Miss Sykes said, the defense has every right to cross-examine. Isn't that right, Your Honor? Yes, of course. You may proceed with your cross-examination. I shall relish the sight of you thrashing around in vain. I'm gonna miss doing his voice, I swear. Because the guy after him is regarded as, like, the most boring prosecutor. Alright, so Shipley's autopsy report. Okay, fair enough. That seems obvious.
Objection!
It would seem that you're mistaken, Miss DePlume. I beg your pardon? The autopsy report does indeed say death through the thought to be result of an orca attack, but the actual cause of death was contusion from head trauma. What? But I'm sure the victim was bitten. I don't believe that can be true. The security footage doesn't show anything of that kind.
Objection!
Just as I suspected. I knew you would peek at the footage right behind Fulbright's back. Well, what did you expect when he wouldn't play nice and share? But unfortunately for you, the footage you saw was only one small part. Yesterday, after I decided to take the case to trial, I re-reviewed all of the evidence. Taka, the evidence I gave to you for safekeeping. Blech! Guess that hawk is higher up on the pecking order than even Fulbright. Very well, let's review the footage. Uh-oh. What's this? The orca's biting the victim! No way! Oh, goody. I have to say, this appears to be very damning evidence. No, I can't believe Orla really bit him. And there's more. Look at this. The photograph was taken while the body was being examined. There seemed to be a strange bruise on the victim's right wrist. I'll have the crime lab examine the bruise and calculate its relevance to the case at hand. What's important right now is evidence that points to the orc as the killer. Look at the left side of the body. See the orca's tooth marks on the victim's clothes? They do appear to suggest that she did, in fact, bite the victim. Eesh. I told you so. And then the killer whale swam up and toward the surface with the victim in its mouth.
Objection!
However, in the autopsy report, the cause of death was contusion from head trauma.
Objection!
You are much too impetuous. Granted, the orca biting the victim was not the cause of death. The witness was mistaken. Then what explanation is there for what the witness saw? And why do I warble my words today? Wubba wubba wubba. Anyway, did I not say from the beginning the orca toyed with the victim mercilessly? My goodness! After killing the victim, the defendant swam around with a dead body in her mouth. Just like any other predator toying with its prey. Mr. Wright, the hearts of the people in the gallery are suddenly filled with fear. Fear of Orla. So the defendant bit the victim after she had killed him. But if that's the case, then we must still figure out how the defendant killed the victim. Prosecutor Blackwell, do you have a sound theory to give the court? I wouldn't be standing here if I couldn't prove whether the orca's heart was black or white. But Orla is black and white. Her body, I mean. Athena, try not to provoke him. This witness also observed the actual moment of the murder. Think back, word mistress. Think back to what you observed before the orca bit the victim. Ah, I see what you're driving at. That was at the true moment of the murder, wasn't it? Now explain a way that even these simpletons could understand. There you go again, ordering me around. Stop that this instant. But whatever, I don't mind telling you my story. I saw the killer whale before it toyed with the body as well. I saw it the moment it killed the victim by headbutting him. Orla killed the victim by headbutting him? That's right. It rammed the victim over and over again. Recall what the autopsy report stated. There were bruises all over his body. Recall as well how persistent the defendant can be when attacking a prey. And we all just saw the killer whale headbutting the victim in the footage. Don't forget. That footage backs up her testimony. But there's something very important it doesn't show. Now do you see what a menace this killer whale is?
Objection!
I'm sorry, but I can't allow your testimony to stand unchallenged. Looking at this footage, the orca certainly seems to be headbutting something. But you'll note that the something is not the victim. What? I don't want to look away, but I can't. Even if it was the victim, you couldn't have seen him from where you were you? What? Well, I suppose not. Miss DePlume, did you actually witness the victim getting headbutted by the defendant? Let's see. Oh, I remember now. As I recall, a rock in the shape of a skull was obstructing my view. So you're admitting you couldn't see the victim? Yes, I suppose I am. However, immediately after headbutting, the victim came floating up. He came up behind the skull-shaped rock, and his body was all limp. What else could I think except the killer whale had headbutted the victim?
Objection!
But if you didn't actually see the moment of the attack, it's pure conjecture.
Objection!
Must I do everything around here? How dare you speak so rudely to me? There's no need for hysterics. Clear your mind and recall how you reached that conclusion. Though you couldn't see what the orca was attacking, you didn't need to, did you? Because you knew she was behaving exactly as she had 1 year prior. Oh, 1 year ago. That's right. That's it. That's how I knew the killer whale was headbutting the victim. I'm sorry, but could someone explain what happened a year ago? If you must know, a very similar incident occurred only last year, in which the defendant murdered her trainer. What? The orca murdered her trainer? What? Is that really true? It's not looking good. It's all in this book. The killer whale? That's Mr. Plume's latest work. I was just thinking of picking that up. Last year, the defendant killed a trainer in the middle of a show. The orca headbutted and bit the victim. Same thing she's accused of in this case. That orca killed 2 people? That thing's a menace! I never want to go to the beach again! Now everyone's more convinced that Orla did it! We're doing so well, but now everyone in the room has a bad impression. I don't want to think she did it. It's hard to keep on believing in somebody who can't even tell me her side. Phoenix! Athena, you gotta believe! Ain't no way she killed nobody! You gotta save her, I'm begging you! Sasha, what am I doing doubting my client like this? It's this time that I gotta be strong. I believe in Orla and I'm ready to fight. I'll take everybody to the courtroom on if I have to. Don't you worry, Sasha. We won't give up on Orla. We'll defend her. Thank you! Thank you, both of you! We're Orla's lawyers. Who else but us could save her? Can't give up on her now. For an instant there, you were afraid of her, weren't you? When you saw the photograph of the victim from a year ago, you turned paler than me. You saw right through me. It's obvious you have neither the guts nor determination to defend the orca. It's true that Orla can't speak, and I don't know her thoughts. But there's a certain someone who believes in Orla with all her heart. I respect the trust she has, and I'm willing to believe in Orla too. And what do you know about orcas? Nothing, that's what. So allow me to fill you in. Do you have any idea why orcas are also called killer whales? Because they are cunning, merciless predators that hunt and kill even true whales. So killer whales really are killers? What terrifying creatures indeed. I can't bear to hear any more rubbish as trusting a killer. Can you, your baldness? No matter what you say, I will continue to believe. I don't give up that easily, you know. Dullard, you don't know to give up, do you? Very well, I shall give you a chance to prove just how determined you are. Witness, spare no quarter, and may the full truth of it. No! But of course, that's what I do, after all. Prosecutor Blackwell, what do you have the witness testify about? I shall have her testify about what she saw and what she heard. What she heard? Very well, Mr. Plume, please tell the court what you saw and what you heard. Killer Whale's behavior was exactly the same as a year ago. As I approached the pool, the killer whale suddenly started singing. I was calm when I saw it start to headbutt. But when the pirate hat flew and the victim came floating up, I let out a scream! So the orca displayed the same behavior during an incident a year ago. That's right. Those weren't just as simple cries, it was singing. As I approached the pool, the killer whale suddenly started singing. It kept headbutting while it sang the swashbuckler spectacular. That's right, it was singing the same song it sang in the aquarium's stage show. It was singing while it was headbutting. It was perfectly horrible. I don't see a single obvious inconsistency. It's clear I won't be able to take apart her statement with evidence. Mr. Wright, now would be a good time for me to put my skills to work. It's time to show what analytical psychology can really do. Seem pretty confident. Let me guess, you noticed a contradiction between her testimony and emotions. You bet I did. Once we expose it, might be able to crack her. No, scratch that. Make it. We'll definitely be able to. And then let's give your knowledge a shot. You got it, boss. Complete analysis of her art coming up. Blup. Yay. Bibbidi bobbidi boop. I don't know why I referenced Cinderella, but what the fuck. Mr. Plume, Orla really frightened you with her headbutting, didn't she? Don't be absurd! I certainly was not frightened by the likes of that killer whale. It must have been something else that scared her then, boss. However, I do remember being very afraid for some reason while I was doing that. Sounds like maybe you saw something we haven't discussed yet. Take your time and try to remember what it was. What did you see? This is practically turning into a counseling session. I saw something. Oh, I remember now. Very good. You can tell me what the court was that you... Tell the court what you saw. I saw bright red blood. The killer whale's ramming caused the victim to bleed. It was a great cloud of blood. What? Yes, that's it. That's why I was so sure. That's when I knew the killer whale had killed a person. For the second time. That's a very compelling statement indeed. Looking at this again, there does appear to be something that could be a cloud of blood. So her terror was a reaction to blood? It certainly explain what happened yesterday. I was badly injured during an interview once. Ever since then, I've been terrified of blood. The very sight of it just dreadfully upsets my delicate sensibilities. This is a bad turn. If she saw blood, does that mean Orla really did attack the victim? It would appear that orcas are even more vicious than I am. So, how does it feel to be thoroughly rammed by your own cross-examination? What do we do now, boss? Testimony was not at all what I expected to hear. Wait a minute, there's still some discord left in her heart. I mean, there's more? Yes, but there's no telling what it is. It could be something even more damaging. Is there anything left of our case to damage? Well, whatever it is, we have to face it head on. Athena, you believe in Orla, right? If so, there's no reason for us to shy away from the truth. Yeah, you're right. I know we can handle the truth, no matter what it is. So let's delve deeper. You got it! Her fear appeared to lessen here at her statement. Mr. Plume, weren't you afraid when you saw the victim with blood coming out of him? My, that's a very good question. I was shaken after witnessing a murder, yes, but the blood seemed to disappear. Disappear? What do you suppose that is? Simple. It was because of the pirate hat. After the killer whale put the hat on, the cloud of blood disappeared.
Objection!
And how exactly does that work? How should I know? I'm telling you what I remember, Blue Boy. Wait a minute. And who is this blood actually coming from?
Take that!
Consider this. Maybe the one who was bleeding wasn't the victim. I beg your pardon? What kind of ridiculous nonsense is that? There was no one else in the pool besides the victim. I wouldn't say there was no one else. It is an orca pool, after all. What? Then where's this alleged injury on the defendant? I'm not sure. If simply wearing the pirate hat made the blood disappear, then the blood must have been coming from somewhere in Orla's head. What? The orca's head. What are you prattling on about now? Please think about it again. Think back to what you really saw. That is... The one who was bleeding was not the victim, but the killer whale? I remember now. There wasn't any blood coming from the victim at all. Bye-bye. We did it! Analytical psychology got what we needed. It was a huge help, Athena. It was also pretty dicey for a while, though. Well, this is a surprise. The blood the witness saw was the defendant's, not the victim's. That's correct. Since there was no blood coming from the victim, there's only one thing we can conclude. That what Miss DePlume witnessed was not the moment of the murder she claimed.
Objection!
I thought you were unarmed, but it turns out you were concealing a sword all along. Nevertheless, it's far too dull to cut to the bone. Meaning? I grant that what the witness saw was not the victim's blood, but it proves nothing. After all, being rammed doesn't always result in a wound that bleeds, does it? Death from internal hemorrhaging is also a possibility. He has a point. If you wish to challenge me to a duel, you'll need a sharper blade than that. I demand evidence that proves the witness did not see the moment of the murder. Must be something. Let's see, before she saw it. If the victim was already dead when Orla started her headbutting, then that would mean he died sometime before Miss DePlume was watching. The events Miss DePlume witnessed took place at 10:10. We must have something that can tell us about what happened. Security footage.
Take that!
We're only seeing the footage from 10:09 to 10:10, which means there's still footage further back that we need to check. Your Honor, I request that all the security footage be played for the court. All of the footage? Mr. Plume witnessed the cloud of blood around 10:10, but I believe the victim was already dead by that time. So your assertion that the murder took place before she arrived? Exactly. Security camera footage starts at 10 a.m. when the aquarium opened, and I believe there's vital evidence in the 10 minutes before. You are quite the gambling man, right, Dodo? Are you honestly willing to risk everything on those mere 10 minutes? I've bet on slimmer chances before. When he puts it out. My boss is no coward, Prosecutor Blackwill, so I suggest you get ready to eat humble pie. Oh, can't back down now. Well, if the defense is that confident in its importance, Prosecutor Blackwill, the security footage. Fulbright. Roger, I got the rest of the security footage right here. Very well, please play it for the court. I think this is actually the halfway point I was mentioning. So, let me check the spot here. Yeah, I think, yeah, we're about halfway. Yeah, there's still a little bit left. That works. So yeah, this is a good stopping point. About 30. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Hooray! We'll call it here, and we'll finish up this part of the investigation in the next episode. And I gotta get ready for work. See ya.